All right, I had to make space. See what I mean? Okay. And I'm gonna take that as being relevant to this message. Like what I was saying before we got cut off was about understanding and having a fear of and running away from the fact that in order to really be in community with people, we have to allow ourselves to be seen. And sometimes that's easier to say, like, oh man, I wish people saw and understood me, than it actually is to receive when it happens to you. So because it means that they have to see all of this, they have to see all of these parts, they have to see the stuff that like we're still trying to get comfortable with seeing in ourselves. And then we have to hope that they will love and receive us. And this message is making me sad. Again, it's resonating with me for sure, but it's like we have to allow ourselves to be received well and loved unconditionally by people. And that can be hard when you are recognizing that you've never been unconditionally loved before. You know, a lot of us, again, when you're talking about being a people pleaser, it's like you're being loved for what you can give people, whether that's financially or how you can be of service to them. However you can bend over backwards and completely neglect yourself, then people will love you and they will feel like you're valuable and worth something. And that really skews your perspective of yourself and what it is that you have to offer, and understanding that you're worthy just because you're worthy. You were born worthy. You came into this world worthy. You never had to earn people's love, even though they tried to make it seem like you did. So there's a need to get away from acting out that pattern in your life of people who trigger that, making you feel like you have to work so hard just to get like a sliver of recognition or love from them, or just for them to kind of maybe feel like they know your worth. um okay. Yeah. So we picked it up in reverse, which is good. But because you guys could be, it is literally getting cold outside, but it's time to make room in your life to love and be loved. That's definitely a huge part of this message. But it's also time to make room for things that you love, like activity wise as well. But for sure, community in a way that you've never had it before. You've had community, you've had a community of people around you who were useless and expected you to do everything in some way, shape, or form, or expected you to, make up the deficit for whatever they weren't doing. And you were a child, and that responsibility never should have been placed on you. Um, and that can look so many different ways for so many different people. Like for some people, that can look like being emotional support for grown adults having grown adult problems that you as a child should not be having to be worried about. So you really run the gamut there. Um, I do think that there is some sort of action or communication that is gonna be taken or needs to be taken. Um, since we did have the Eight of Wands on the bottom of the deck, and we had the King of Swords, so that was making me think that somebody is definitely feeling decisive. There is a decision that's been made. Somebody's feeling maybe a little bit more clear headed than they were before, and it probably has to do with clearing out a lot. So I know we're talking about what the next leg of this healing journey is going to look like for you guys, but I do still want you guys to just take a minute to really, like, again, pat yourselves on the back and give yourselves a hug, and just be grateful for yourselves and whatever it is that you've already worked through. The self awareness that it's already taken to identify the fact that a lot of the issues that you were having in your life, like where they were coming from, like the ways in which you were creating more problems for yourself. Being able to identify that and do something about it and actually take accountability is a big deal. I know for a lot of people they might feel like that's bare minimum, but it's a big deal, and it's especially a big deal when you're talking about like trying to grow and be a better person to yourself first and foremost. But trying to be a better person to yourself is going to reflect in your relationships naturally. So you don't need to try to be a better person for other people. You need to try to be a better person for you. And then that'll just sort of like trickle down to your relationships external of yourself. So I never intend for these readings to be as long as they are. But at this point, by now, if y'all don't know I'm long winded, then what do you want me to say? All right. Yeah, under that Three of Cups is the Ten of Cups and the Two of Swords. So you guys could be looking at something that you know would make you very happy, but there's that fear that's keeping you stuck. There's the overthinking and the what ifs, and what if this person. I think there's a fear, again, I just think this boils down to a fear of being loved unconditionally. And I think it's because you guys have struggled to love yourselves unconditionally, even through the parts of your life where you were self sabotaging, like that wasn't self love. It was self protection. But I think during that, you would have been so disconnected from your emotional space and your heart. So there wouldn't have been any love flowing to you. And therefore, you would have not have been able to be in a position to have love flowing to anything outside of yourself, whether that be like creative projects or that be actual people. Um, I'm just getting somebody being very closed off and that heart chakra being blocked, but it's opening up. And a lot of its opening up is going to come from you letting that guard down. And again, that's gonna look different for everybody. It could be about, you meet a new friend and they want to get close to you and you're like, ooh. You're like, ooh. It can be a romantic interest that you meet and they want to get closer to you and you're like, ooh. I'm afraid of some of you guys could be afraid of like your bad days. We all have bad days, but you could be like, my bad days, like I'm a nightmare to be around, or if it's not a nightmare, it's just like, sun in reverse can be like depression too. So this could be like, I have these moments. I don't know what the hell that was. These moments. I swear it looked like a flying spider. I have these moments where I'm depressed, and it's like during those days where you're not perfect, or you're not a machine, you're not performing your best, you're not in a good mood. Those are probably the days where you're beating yourself up the most and feeling a lot more down on yourself, and also wondering like who is going to love me on my days where I'm feeling like this. Again, it's giving Beauty and the Beast in those days that you feel like the beast. And again, just questioning like who would put up with that, or who would love me when I feel like that, or I'm behaving like that on these days. And that's coming from a lack of you loving you. So for a lot of you, like that's where the focus needs to be shifted, is this reconnection with yourself and loving yourself first and foremost. But I also do think that there's something about this connection that wants to come in, or is already pre-existing for some of you guys, um that has a lot to do with sort of walking you back to yourself and mirroring that self-love back to you, because of how much this person does love and accept you. And it's not always going to be easy to receive. This is definitely going to be a journey. It's going to require a lot of patience and grace on both parties' parts, because there will be frustration in here. Absolutely. But I think there's a lot of self-love that you're going, because I think you guys are already on that journey, but there's a lot more self-love and acceptance that you're going to find when you have that person who is like, hey, it's okay, you're having a bad day, I still love you. Like, you're allowed to have your excesses. Okay, maybe you weren't having a good day, so you were a little bit meaner that day. Like, you're not a bad person, I still love you. I know you still love me. I just know that like you're healing. And everybody's not a version of themselves that they like every single day. And if you say that you are, you're lying. And you shouldn't deal with people that say they are, because they're lying. um it's like something about this new situation, or this love, or again, for you guys, maybe this is a new job. I'm not really getting them, kind of leaning more towards love for this part of the message now. um It's like we have the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups is like the Niagara Falls. Maybe all the aces are opportunities, right? So this is an opportunity to connect with someone in a very deep way that you probably have never before. um, but I also think that this is an opportunity to get a lot of you guys to connect with yourselves deeper in a way that you haven't before. And you could be at the point of your journey where you're like, I don't feel like I'm deserving of this yet. Like, I just feel like I still have so much more growth and healing to do. And don't question God's timing. Like, that's just kind of how it's coming through. God's like, listen, if I felt like you were going to, okay, you're being sent something, or you already have been, because again, for some of you guys, this is a pre-existing connection. You already know this person. You already know who I'm talking about when I'm saying this, right? Be honest with yourselves. That's a good little self-check-in moment for you guys. Um, this is one of those things that you cannot mess up, because you can't mess up anything that's truly for you. So even with all your self-sabotaging and the defensiveness and the being on guard and whatever, you still haven't messed this up, and you're not going to, because this is a person that loves and accepts you. So they're still going to love and accept you despite all of that, because they just do. This is one of those times where the love is not really a choice. You just do love this person, but love is a choice in this instance, because this person is going to choose to stick around while you heal, because there's going to be an understanding of the fact that you're healing. But I will say, one tip I'm feeling called to give you guys is that the more honest you are when these moments of defensiveness come up, or when you do something that you feel like isn't healthy or productive to this relationship, one thing that's going to help this relationship and this bond between you and this person deepen is clarity. It's context. Giving this person context for this behavior when you act out in this way, or when you got to pull back and you need space, or you need to put distance up, or whatever it is. Like, just explaining to them, like, hey, here are some things that have happened to me. Like, that right there is going to allow this person to really understand, like, okay, I know what I'm dealing with and what I'm working with, and I'm still going to choose to stick around and love you. It's just that when those things happen, I can really know not to take it personally, because I know this isn't about me. This is about stuff that you had going on in your life prior to me that you're working through, but you are working through it, and you're allowed to be loved while you work through it. You're allowed to be loved and accepted while you work through it. You don't have to be perfect to be in a happy, healthy relationship. You just have to be a human being who is genuinely trying their best. And we can try our best as much as we want to. We're not always going to get that right. You're trying your best with what is your best at that given time. And the more you heal, the more you know, the more you grow, right? You know better, so you do better. So your best becomes better and better as time goes on, and as you allow the lessons of the things that have happened to you in your life that have brought you to this point to really be able to be integrated. So, the Ace of Cups is a big deal. Ace of Cups is always a big deal. But these are feelings you can't turn off. Either of you. Neither of you can turn these feelings off. This is just the well that runs so deep. Okay? Um, it never ends. It's like, damn, do I have access to Rider Waite Ace of Cups? Because that's my favorite depiction of the Ace of Cups. I might have it out already. I'm gonna clip you guys while we look. There we go. Perfect. We have like so many different decks and cards happening on my desk right now. But listen, there's some organization in the chaos. Anyway, look at that. I love this. Is the best to me depiction of the Ace of Cups. I don't care what deck it is. I'm over here blocking the microphone. But it's like, look at the way I love the water under the Ace of Cups, because to me it shows like how it's like you have this gigantic cup and it's filled to the brim, and it's constantly flowing out. But then when it gets to the bottom, it just sort of like pulls off into itself. So it really feels like the highs and lows of like what is really like divine love, real unconditional love knows that like even in healthy relationships, everything is not, great every day. Like there's going to be conflict. There's a such thing as healthy conflict. You work through it, you talk it out, you manage it, you learn from it, and you move on. So I like that the Ace of Cups depicts the way that it feels so grand, but then there are also days where it's just mundane and it's peaceful and it's just nice, Love, like genuine love, is not always super passionate and exciting and oh my god. Like that's more so toxic relationships, but again, a whole bunch of highs and lows. But these are every relationship is gonna have its ups and downs. But that definitely does look different in a healthy relationship than it does in a toxic relationship. Those have way more highs and lows, and they have extremes. They have super, super highs and super duper lows, um, which is why it's not healthy. So, Eight of Wands can also be like travel. Somebody could be considering traveling, when they could be considering sending a message, but then we got this devil card. So there's something underlying, and it probably does either have to do with your mental health or some sort of overthinking or fear, getting trapped in your head, that's blocking either this travel or this communication from being able to happen. So yeah, when I pulled this, the Ace of Cups came out like with the Ace of Pentacles. And that's my favorite thing, because I always say, even when you have the Ten of Cups, you want the Ten of Pentacles as well. Because the Ten of Cups is like, yes, this is so nice and it's dreamy and it feels really good. But the Ten of Pentacles is what really grounds that into reality and makes it stable and solid and something that is going to last forever, because there's tangible work being put into it. There's time and energy that is being put into it, because that's just as important of a currency as money is. So I was also, sidebar, it's not really a sidebar because this is relevant, but for those of you that this is a pre-existing connection, one thing I was getting in this reading too is like, if in the past you didn't give to this, like you were holding yourself back from giving to this and you were like breadcrumbing this person, or like here one day, gone the next, very in and out, hot and cold. If that's what you did before and you're looking at the results of what you're left with in that relationship, and you're like, damn, I just wish things were better. In your planning and your restructuring and your formatting of this relationship and just how you choose to navigate relationships going forward, if you're looking for different results, you got to do something different. So if you feel like you don't like where the state of your relationship is, then deploying any of those same behaviors is just going to land you in a worse off position than you already are now in regards to this relationship. So there's definitely a need for us to lower our defenses, put our guard down, and be vulnerable. That seems like that's like the real gist of this reading. Because it is safe to be. That's why. You have probably been used to not being received well in the past when you tried to be vulnerable, because those people were unsafe. They were never going to be able to receive you well because they couldn't even handle their own vulnerability, their own feelings, their own trauma well. So they were never going to be able to receive you in that way. So again, not your fault, and not something that you need to internalize and really like manifest. We're going to pull some oracle cards. Manifest into your future by telling yourself a story. I won't be surprised if we see that card. There's a card in this deck called letting go of stories. But you need to let go of the story that like people don't care about you and that you only have yourself and you're only ever gonna have yourself, because then you're going to make that your reality by acting in a way that makes that the reality. And that's not what we want to do. You deserve to have a good life. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be, giving love, because an Ace of Cups, that's a lot of love to give. Okay. So you deserve to be met back with that, which is that Two of Cups. So again, it's a journey. Okay. But you gotta let it in. And there are going to be days where that isn't easy. You just have to be prepared to work with yourself, but also help this person work with you. Already, we've got Epiphany, Sing at Dawn. That is aha moment, awakening, new directions, and potential. For some of you, I mean, we had that moon in reverse, so I don't know if some of you guys are going to be revealing your feelings to someone or having like a really good in-depth conversation with someone during this full moon or after this full moon is over, because we're going to be working with the energy of this full moon for I think the next 5 days after it happens, and we're still in the energy of both of those eclipses. So remember that the first one was a Pisces super full moon eclipse. So that's definitely, I'm sure there was a lot that was uncovered for you guys. That was September's full moon eclipse, so that was the end of September. And then right after that, we had a new moon eclipse at the beginning of this month. I think that was like October 4th or something like that. So a time to release and then a time to set new intentions. So to me, full moons are a lot of figuring out like what we no longer want to keep around. We don't want any more of that. So let's let this go. And the new moons come in because it's like, okay, now let's focus on trying to manifest and invite in and putting ourselves in position to receive what it is that we actually want. So I think you guys just need to take time to get clear on what your intentions are, because then you'll be able to like clearly communicate them to this other person or these other people. Because again, like I said, this could be a lover and friends as well. Excuse me. I don't know if y'all could even hear that burp on my car, but I be thinking y'all can, and then I watch the video back and I'm like, oh, 22:22 on my clock. All right. Oh my God. I love this card. I love this card and we never get it. We never pull it. I saw it the other day and I was like, oh my God, I love this card. We never see it. Grace within the chaos, accepting life's complexities, the seduction of distraction. Yeah, so you guys have a lot of responsibilities right now. I feel like letting this love come in while you are trying to take care of so many different things. It's like going to be a really good place for you to let your hair down and be with a person who is not with you because they want something from you. You know, all they want is your love. That's it. Because they want to love you, so they want to get that back. But they're not going to be with you because of what they feel like you can do for them. I feel like somebody needs to hear that. I'm going to read Epiphany Sing at Dawn first because I was looking for the other card and it's actually one before that card. So we're going to read that one first. The way of understanding is not always direct. After struggling with something a while, sometimes you just have to let it go. Then when you stop trying to figure it out intellectually, an epiphany will deliver you from your confusion. Inspiration flows and you suddenly have the exact understanding you need to move forward with meaning and purpose. These dawning moments of revelation happen because you stop overly focusing on the issues and let your peripheral awareness gather what it needs. It's a skill that most people don't know they have, but it's how we tap into the hidden realms for information. In your current situation, stop trying to figure things out with your mind and self will alone and instead surrender to spirit. What did I say about overthinking? Let that go. Ask for your solution and it will come, but only when you let go of the need for the exact timing, form, and manner in which it's delivered. And I just told y'all, didn't I say don't question God's timing? This was not put into your life. If you met this person when you were at your worst, whatever it is, if you feel like you're still not ready, whatever it is, that was not by accident. That was not by accident. It was on purpose. The best way to prepare is to engage in some repetitive, mundane activity. While doing something completely unrelated, you will receive a divine download. Go for a walk, garden, do the dishes, paint, or dance if you're able. Didn't I say at the beginning of this reading that you guys are working too hard and you need to take something off your plate so you can have time to go for a walk or form a thought? Didn't I say that? That's why I love doing Oracle at the end, because every time I go, didn't I say that? Trust your ability to receive the guidance that you're asking for, and trust. It's like, as an overthinker myself, I was just telling my friend the other day that I stopped asking the universe for signs because I used to overthink them. And last time I did it, you know, I asked for 2 and I got them both and I just went with it. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to ask for a 3rd one. I asked for the signs, you gave them to me, and I'm just going to go with it. So trust yourself, trust the universe, but trust yourself. I think the next card we were going to read was... Oh, yeah, perfect. I love that card. It was grace within the chaos. So the key concepts are grace, choice, accepting the complexities of life, not taking this world personally, and the seduction of distraction. Ooh. See, the seduction of distraction sounds like it goes perfectly with what we were just talking about in that last card, with just living your life. Like, sometimes, especially when you go on your spiritual journey, and you do go seeking answers, you will find them, but it's like, that's kind of the first leg. Everything after that really is just living and let love, you know, like, just live life. And because that's what you were doing before the journey. And so when you embark on that journey, it's just you taking everything that's happened to you thus far, and it's introspection, but it's also retrospection, because you're going back and kind of going over everything and trying to shift your perspective and use each of those occurrences to learn from all of them. like figuring out how they all tie in together, because they do. Finding the patterns and collecting data from there. So let's see what grace within the chaos is. Every day you awake is the gift of a new beginning. Will you decide to walk through chaos with grace or get spun out by that chaos? You can choose to express yourself with love or with divisiveness. In pain and heartbreak, you still get to choose whether to be present to all life has to offer or to distract and numb yourself to avoidance. In avoidance. I don't have my glasses on because the glare of this ring light was kind of pissing me off. But honestly, I might put them on because I cannot spend the rest of this video squinting. I never even know if I have these on the right way. Plus, they're actually sliding off my face. But all right, my friends, you know, y'all get a little bit of everything on this channel. I might edit that out, and I also just might not. Think of this as like a FaceTime call between besties, okay? All right. Where you place your attention and energy will grow. So choose abundance, gratitude, meaningful activities, self-care, compassion, kindness, creativity, joy, and laughter. Today, you're asked to walk with grace, to see through the lens of compassion and courage, and take nothing personally, which is so hard. How can you bring your best self to this situation? Can you remain in the eye of the storm and observe the world rather than identify with it? Can you release the need for certainty, expecting the outer world to behave the way you think it should? That one's hard for me. Acknowledge complexities and nuance without trying to force a change. It's time to wear the world loosely around your shoulders and have a sense of humor. All will be well. You are exactly where you need to be. Trust that this chaos is temporary. I love that. I love that. I did want to pull one more card for you guys, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. with a final message, because this came to me like in between me doing this reading. This full moon is really an interesting one. Yeah. let's get y'all one more card. Oh, wow. Well, confirmation for some of you guys that, oh, okay, we got 3 more. Do I want to, I mean, we got enough for now, always. All right, confirmation for some of you guys that this is about a renewal of a relationship with this another chance to be card. That's number 1, but also it's reminding me of the reclamation that I was saying when I was saying that the keys for you to move forward and figure out what you really want are going to come from your inner child. So you're going to have to move backwards before you can move forwards. And that seems like that's going to be relevant in a lot of different ways for you guys. So we have reclamation, second chances, rebirth, and emotional healing. I think the second chance is coming from the emotional healing that has taken place with both parties. I have, if y'all saw what my desk looks like right now, y'all would be like, Kellen, what the fuck? Yeah, we mentioned that we have the King of Wands. I still do. Ignore that. I have the King of Wands, the King of Swords, the Devil, and the 8 of Wands. That Devil card could just be, it could be, that's the thing about the Devil, it could be so many different things. It can be ego, it can be fear, it can be codependency, it can be an addiction, it could be that somebody is working too much. And that could be a blockage right now. Some people are addicted to making money, okay? So that could be a thing. But whatever this Devil card is, it's definitely a blockage, definitely something that's getting in the way and holding someone back. It could be fear, though. I feel like I'm getting it more as fear right now. Since I have it with the King of Swords, somebody could really be up in their head overthinking. But I like this energy. I like that we have the King of Swords, the King of Wands, and the 8 of Wands, because this feels like someone taking inspired action. I have the Ace of Cups here twice. I mean, this literally could not be any fucking louder. When I was looking to find my place with that card we were reading earlier, I passed by love and partnership. I mean, this energy is loud. So I definitely think that this full moon in Aries, with all this like impulsive and kind of chaotic energy, I think that for those of you that have either Aries placements or just cardinal placements in general, so that's Aries, Capricorn, Libra, and Cancer, this energy is gonna be impacting you more greatly. And I think it's going to be a return of motivation. And I don't even think this is just about this relationship. I think this is just motivation towards wherever it is that your heart is calling to you. Because we have the King of Wands on that deck, and that's the Cat Tarot. And then I have, from another spread that did not get filmed, the Queen of Wands. So for those of you who would resonate more with being the receptive party in this situation, or just in general, the Queen of Wands stands out. Now, the Queen and the King of Wands both stand out, and they're both considered to be very attractive people. But to me, it has way more to do with, it actually has nothing to do with society's like standards. Wow, I cannot speak today. I'm gonna take that as relevant to the energy. Somebody's tongue-tied. Don't be surprised if somebody brings a message to you and they're like stuttering or a whole bunch of typos because they just hurried up and rushed and typed it out and threw their phone and ran across the room. But I feel like the King and Queen of Wands defy beauty standards, and that's what makes them so attractive, because they're attractive in very unconventional ways because they're just doing whatever they feel like. I feel like, because I was getting this before I actually sat back down to do this reading, I think the Queen of Wands more specifically is acting as, it's like the Queen of Wands is inspired by life around them right now. And it's like, picture somebody and they're walking down the street and they're talking to the birds, you know, and they see a florist on their walk, and so they buy a bouquet of flowers for themselves, or maybe even just like a singular flower. You know, and they're just walking down the street and they just seem so at peace, and they're talking to people, and you know, something about them is just very magnetic, and it has to do with how open and, again, receptive their energy is. But also figure that this is a person who looks very like visually interesting, like very aesthetically pleasing is the word that comes to mind. So for a lot of you guys, you can have fire Venus, because I was getting Venus energy, but not like Libra or Taurus, just Venus in the sense of like the way that you are adorning your body is what is making you attractive to many different people right now, but especially the King of Wands. And I feel like the reason why the level of attraction and the kind of attraction that the King of Wands is feeling right now is going to be hitting a little bit different when this person does approach you. Is because they get it. They get it. So they're not just admiring you, you know, because I don't know if y'all heard that. 12:45 on my timer. The King of Wands is admiring you a little bit differently than everybody else is, in this reading anyway. The King of Wands is admiring you because there's something about you, like you guys are mirroring each other. So they see your vision because it's written all over you, and it's in everything that you do. You're kind of just taking a little bit of you and just kind of spitting it. Oh my God, you know how flies, this is so gross, but you know how flies, whenever they land on anything, they just like vomit all over it, and then it becomes garbage because they just kind of like poisoned you. This is like that, but the reverse. It's like I'm getting somebody and you're just walking around vomiting like glitter. But whatever you touch, ooh, this is kind of like the Midas touch, but I also kind of hate when people use the Midas touch positively, because the whole point of the Midas touch was that literally everything he touched turned to gold, including his daughter. And he had to learn the hard way that wasn't what he wanted. But anyway, we're not going to get on that soapbox today. I also feel like people reference Oedipus incorrectly as well, but we're also not going to do that. Anyway, this feels like beautification, you know? So some of you guys, you could work in interior design. Maybe you're a stylist, maybe you're a makeup artist. You don't have to be, but there is just something about you that I'm hearing makes everything just a little bit sweeter. You know, everything tastes a little bit better when you're around. I don't know. Every experience, I think that's what it really is. Like every experience feels just a little bit better when you're around. You guys could be switching up your look. Maybe you've stepped into a new look recently. Maybe you've changed your hair. I was getting the image of somebody like buzzing their hair off and then doing like when people paint in those really cool designs on their hair. So some of you guys could be experimenting in that way. But I was also getting with Betsy Johnson. And for those of you who've only ever seen Betsy Johnson's clothes, but you've never seen what she actually looks like, please go Google it. She is the epitome of eclectic. Oh my God, she's all over the place. But I think it's in the best way possible. It's like, would I wear the stuff that she wears? No. But am I obsessed with how she looks all the time? Absolutely. And I love Betsy Johnson's clothes. But a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people aren't gonna get it. And this is giving like one man's trash is another man's treasure. But it's like, while other people are seeing the Queen of Wands and feeling attracted to them because they're attractive, they are magnetic, they're sexy, you're creative, you're passionate, you're motivated, you're ambitious, you're inspired, you're inspirational. Did we say creative? You're witty, you know, you've got a lot of energy because this is the Wands suit. Courageous, you know. While the Queen of Wands is those things, I think that as the King of Wands is seeing the Queen of Wands and observing and feeling attracted, it's like, yeah, other people are seeing what you're doing and they like it, but like, I get it. I get what you're doing. Like, you put that Instagram post up of your art and like, I got it. You know, like, there's just something about this person where they feel like they resonate with you a lot deeper than other people do. And if you guys, I'm not even gonna say if you guys don't know this person yet, I really don't feel like this is for those of you that haven't met this person. With this another chance to be card, I really don't. Like, I'm so sorry for the people who don't want to hear past person. I'm sorry. But that's what this is giving me. And past person does not mean that this is an ex of yours that did you dirty. That's like the first place that people's mind goes. But past person can just be somebody you know and things didn't ever go anywhere. We have the Ace of Swords with the Queen of Wands. So I think that this is two things. I think this is newfound clarity about who you are, which is why you're manifesting this in the first place, because I think you stepped into yourself a lot more. And I think you'll continue to do so as time progresses. But I also think that this Ace of Swords is a conversation or clarity that's going, some sort of truth that's going to be brought to you from this King of Wands. It could be how much you inspire them. That's like the first thought that just came to mind. So that might not be for everybody that's what they're going to say straight up, but like, oh my God. When I was like channeling this earlier before I sat down to tell you guys this, I was thinking of this Ace of Wands, and Ace of Wands is like, out of all the Wands cards, the 8, did I say the Ace? Interesting. The 8 of Wands, to me, is the most energetic and energetically driven card. I don't really know how to describe that, but it's a lot. It's like, whoa, it's coming at you. I don't know if you guys have been feeling like heavy sexual energy recently with this Aries full moon. Keep an eye out for that one. And when I started thinking about that earlier, you guys, I started getting hot. So maybe you guys are getting like random hot flashes. Child, I don't know. We're not taking it there today, okay? This is not an 18+ reading. Yeah, but this is definitely some sort of a decision that someone has made. This devil could be speaking to the fact that it's taken them maybe a while to make this decision. Since the devil card felt like a blockage, you know what? I'm going to take it and I'm going to clarify it. And we're going to see what that is. So whatever this is, though, this person has an idea of some sort. They've got something to say, but they've definitely made their mind up. Oh, they have taken a long time. I split the deck, and it was the Knight of Pentacles, the slowest knight of them all. Jesus Christ. Under it is the Six of Wands in reverse. Okay, and the Knight of Wands. So that could even be regret. That's actually what I think this is. I'm not even going to clarify it. I think that the reason, like, this is fear, but it's also regret. And the fear is stemming from regret. So Knight of Wands is all over the place. He's over here, he's over there, he's over there, he's over there. Pretty much whoever is calling, that's where the Knight of Wands is at. They're just prioritizing experiences of any kind. I always say, like, the Knight of Wands has like major FOMO. They don't want to miss out on anything. So they're like wherever the party is at, wherever the excitement, the entertainment is at, that's where the Knight of Wands is going. And so that's not an energy that has any kind of staying power, which is quite literally the opposite of the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is extremely slow. It takes them a while to get there, but when they do, they don't move. They're not leaving. And it has to do, I think, with the level of decisiveness that it takes. Like the Knight of Pentacles is like, listen, no, I want to invest. But the Knight of Pentacles is slow to invest because they want to make sure that this is the proper investment. So again, this is something that somebody's been taking a long time to deliberate on. But with this Eight of Wands, you know what this tells me? They've already made this decision, right? And the only thing that's keeping them back from actually taking a step forward is this fear and regret. And the regret is coming from bouncing around town, you know, being distracted and having their priorities be where they were at the time, which was not stability. You know, it wasn't commitment. Knight of Wands is very non-committal. So what was it with? The Six of Wands in reverse, right? So this person would be feeling like there's a sense of loss here. Like somebody is at a point now, ooh, split the deck in the Lovers. Ciao. Somebody would be looking back at the decisions they made before, and then they would be looking at where they are now, and they would be feeling like, had I made the proper decisions back then, I would be looking at different results present day. So it's like, we know the present informs the future, but you can't say, you know, this is what I want to be my future, and then spend every day doing the exact opposite of that. So somebody could be either realizing that, or they're just maybe regretting the fact that they were in that Knight of Wands energy, which is the Knight of Wands is not prioritizing the future. They're not thinking about the future. Knight of Wands is very, you only live once. So let's just live in the moment. And there isn't really anything wrong with that per se, but I guess from this person's perspective, if it stopped them from having what they now know that they want, then that's where the problem lies. Like, they didn't have this sense of clarity back then, but now they do. So now they're looking back at the past like, I wish, oh, it's giving that Katy Perry song, Wide Awake. I wish I knew then what I know now. Wouldn't dive in, wouldn't bow down. I don't remember. Anyway, but that's what it's giving. Go listen to that song, you guys. Yeah, so this person, okay, this is that awakening energy we keep getting in the collective. Awakening and transformation. And so now there's a regret of how we were living before, which really isn't necessary. Like, I believe everything happens for a reason. There are lessons to be learned, and even when you feel like you've strayed on the path and you diverted and went this way when you felt like you should have went that way, whatever you learned when you went that way was necessary for you to go that way, because you wouldn't have learned that over here. There are different lessons to be learned over here, and they're not going anywhere with this another chance to be card, and the fact that we're looking at the Lovers and the Ace of Cups twice, and and the Wheel of Fortune and Justice and Two of Cups. Like, it was okay for you to go that way. There was something over there. You know, there's nothing wrong with being like, man, I'm curious about what that is. Let me go find out. The Knight of Wands, okay, is this that card I was talking about? Yep, love and partnership, but it's in reverse, peeking out at me. The Knight of Wands. Okay, child, I sound like I was speaking in tongues. My God. Okay, anyway. The Knight of Wands. Following his whims wherever they take them. It's a very explorative energy. That's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna blame this full moon. This energy is all over the place, but it's okay, we move. Yeah, so somebody's moving slowly, but they are moving. That's the thing about the Knight of Wands. He's moving so slowly that at some point you're like, are they moving? But once they do actually come, they stay, you know, and you spend that entire time being aggravated and impatient, but once they do get there, you're happy because you're like, you know what? I like that you took this seriously enough to not do the whole Knight of Wands thing and like rush in and out. So I do think that somebody has learned, ooh, Fool in reverse, yeah. Somebody learned from missteps, but I don't think these were missteps, honestly. I think that it's easy for us to look at things that we've done as being missteps, again, because we're feeling like, damn, I didn't get what I wanted. But it's like, why didn't you get what you wanted, you know? And whatever it is that you chose to go toward because you were attracted to it, it doesn't even have to be a person. It could just be, again, experience as a way of life. Jobs, right? There are lessons to be learned in why you opted to go for those things instead. And that's a very necessary part of the journey. Mistakes are necessary, you know? You gotta fall and get back up. Yeah. It's like if everybody just always went down like the safe, easy path, that path is pretty much illuminated, right? It's like, think of that more as like the sun card, right? Where it's bright and you can see exactly what's happening and you can see the truth, and it's nice because there's transparency and clarity, and we're all aware of what's in front of us. We've got good visibility. We can see 10 feet in front of us, so we know where we're going. But then that moon path is also necessary too. There is a lot of uncertainty, and often we can't really see the next step that we're going to until we get there. But again, there's a lot to be learned through all of that. There are lessons in that path that the other one can't teach you, and they're very valid life lessons. I think you will actually find that if you go a different route than the road that is typically traveled, you will come out of it with expertise that those who took that path don't have. It's like people who choose to be like a doctor or a lawyer. And of course we need doctors and lawyers, so this is no tea, no shade. But what I'm saying is that that's a track in life that's pretty, like, you know how that goes. You know, it's like you go to school, you go to medical school, blah, 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 right? Like, you pretty much know how that's gonna go. And of course I'm simplifying it, but you get what I mean. And that there is a procedure. When you decide that you want to go down different kinds of career paths that are more alternative, they're less procedural, you know, they're very like, that's actually when you need the spirit of the Knight of Wands so that you can be adaptable and be prepared to go with the shifts and the ebbs and the flows, and the fact that you chose to do something that you pretty much are in charge of for yourself. Like, you're your own boss in that way, if that makes sense. It's not, I hate this edge control, bro, even though it's the best edge control. It's just not that simple. So when people decide like, hey, I'm gonna be a freelance artist, you know, that's got its days where you're like, why the fuck did I do this? And then it's got its other days where you're like, oh my God, I love what I do and I couldn't imagine doing anything else, right? So it really just depends. I'll read these last two cards. Enough for now and always. You are enough. Worthiness, faith and needs being met. Order in the forest. Cleansing, releasing resentments, and making amends in reverse. Ooh. I'm gonna see what the book says about that card in reverse. I don't think we really need to read enough for now and always, and I don't really think we need to read another chance to be. Interesting, the first card I flipped it by accident was Death Reclaims a Life. And that's pretty much like the death card in tarot. Where it's about natural endings, grief, letting go, the attributes of emptiness, saying goodbye with blessings, and the sacred quality of death. So when I was reading this Wheel of Fortune that came out in this spread, it was reminding me of the World card. And that was making me think that the end of a cycle between you and someone else is happening, but also like everybody's personal cycle that they've been in with themselves is ending as well. But the only way for that cycle to actually end, especially thinking of the World card and how that card talks about, you know, learning the lessons of that cycle. And that's really the only way for the cycle to end. Because it's like, okay, we could say it's ending, but that same thing that we went through will start right back up again, either with that same person or with a new person, if we didn't actually learn what we're supposed to. And I feel like in this case, it would be forgiveness. With that making amends. So, because we had that card about not taking things personally, right? Right. I also have the consequence of fear sitting on the bottom of this deck, and it's in reverse. I think I'm gonna read that one too, because I am curious about that. But this death reclaims a life. I think both people are having to mourn whatever it is that they've had to let go individually. But I also think that there will be maybe a bit of grief that's either taking place in this relationship, since there was probably an ending here and now we're having another chance to be with all these aces and this renewal. So it was probably a level of grief that happened when both parties had to accept letting this end, letting this fall away. But it wasn't because the actual relationship itself was falling away completely. It was that cycle that you were in, that way of being with each other at that time, had to fall away, and it needed to be let go of because it wasn't sustainable. And there was a lot to be learned from having engaged with each other in that way during that previous cycle. And now it's time to take the lessons of that cycle and what we learned from when we show up that way, and apply that in this next go round. All right. What were we reading? Oh, Order in the Forest. That's what we were reading. In reverse. All right. Can your mind and emotions be so cluttered that you feel caught in a bramble bush of confusion and overwhelm? Are you juggling so many feelings, to-do lists, and mental arguments that you've lost your footing? It's time to cleanse your inner home. Perhaps you need to forgive someone or make your own amends. Perhaps you need to catch up on tasks you're procrastinating. Perhaps you move forward. Before you move forward with that relationship, job, or project, you must take care of all your loose ends. It's time to clean up your life. Yeah. So this is about what everybody has to tend to personally. And because it matters, it's going to create a major shift in the relationship itself when everybody goes off to their own sides to tend to themselves. The physical environment in which you experience most of your life has a huge impact on your state of mind and heart as well. Pay attention to it now to restore your sense of harmony, self-respect, and peace of mind so you can make space for the goodness and abundance meant for you. Your task now, before continuing your progress, is to cleanse and declutter your surroundings. You will be amazed even before you're halfway through. We keep flipping to this love and partnership card by accident, so I'm gonna read it really quickly. All right. Partnership, collaboration, relationships better together, intimacy, romantic love, good business alliances, power dynamics. Human beings are by nature, oh wait, it came out in reverse. So let's read the reversal meaning. Relationships work best when the roles and power dynamic are understood and agreed upon. However, they are not meant to remain rigid or static. Fluidity is necessary for growth and personal evolution. Issues arise when there are hidden agendas and unhealthy power dynamics. Now is the time to inventory the relationships that make you feel unsafe and ask how they serve you. Especially look for enmeshment and codependency. Okay, so that makes sense for the devil card that I said could have been codependency. So this person could be needing to clear out a codependent relationship on their side that hinders them from being able to move forward here. And that would be the King of Wands needing to do that, by the way. The King of Wands, King of Swords. All right. Ask yourself these questions. Are you making yourself small? Are you unable to set boundaries? Do you sense old patterns rising up? What are you no longer willing to tolerate? It's not about placing blame. It's about accountability and choice. You do have a choice, even if the path is new and you need to be brave. You are ready. That said, there's always something to learn, even from our most difficult or devastating relationships. Just remember, not all relationships last forever, yet each will leave you with a gift. Some obvious, some in strange wrapping. The best ones are always win-win. So I like that they said that you do have a choice, because we have the Lovers card here, which is all about choices. And the Lovers card talks about harmony and balance, and peace in a relationship, whether that's a business relationship, it's some kind of partnership. We already know that this is love, so we're not even gonna play. But when the Lovers comes out in reverse and there's some sort of a discrepancy, it usually can be traced back to one or both parties making choices that negatively impact the partnership space that these two people share. So in this case, right, if we're using the example of codependency as it's coming up, what this feels like to me, since the devil was with the King of Swords, this would be someone that has, or something, but we're talking about enmeshment, so I'm going to say this is someone on this masculine energy side. And remember, that does not have to mean that you're a man or a woman. We talk about masculine and feminine energy. I'm going to keep saying that. But somebody on this masculine energy side, who would be the person who would be doing the stepping forward, okay, has an impact on this person's mental space, and that impacts what it is that they choose to move toward. And they also, it's like they create so much overthinking. So this person starts overthinking what it is that they desire, and then that causes hesitancy to actually pursue that thing. And I feel like this is applicable in a general sense, not even just romantically in this person's life. Y'all hear my dog snoring? I don't know if the mic's gonna pick that up. But this would impact, okay, I just made sure my mic was on, I got scared for a second. This would impact how this person moves in general. So this is like whatever it is that they're passionate about, they might overthink actually going and pursuing whatever that is, because they've internalized somebody else's beliefs. And the problem with, one of the many problems with enmeshment, is that it steals your identity from you. And that's where that enmeshing comes from, because there's an erasure of who you actually are as a person, what you value, what you believe, what you stand on, what principles matter to you, because you're taking on this person's identity because they are projecting that onto you, and you are eating it up. You are swallowing it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And really believing that it's what you want, or it's for the better, because you believe that this person has your best interest. Under the Lovers, I have the Four of Pentacles in reverse, the Queen of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, and the Hermit. This could be, I'm gonna read it two ways. For those of you who feel like you resonate with being the Queen of Pentacles, this would be your need, because we talked about rigidity, right? So this would be the need to free up your own energy by not holding back, but also not holding on to what doesn't serve you anymore. But I really am leaning more towards this being someone that this masculine energy needs to release. This would be a feminine influence in their life, could be a mother, somebody whose opinions they value. But I'm looking at, under the Lovers, I have the Four of Pentacles in reverse, the Queen of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, and the Hermit. So this masculine figure if I'm speaking to you, you could feel like you have more clarity when you're by yourself. Like you're more sure of yourself, you're more sure of what you want. Maybe you're even finding clearer steps on how to achieve what it is that you want. But it's like, then you get around this feminine energy and you start second guessing yourself and second guessing what you want. And they start creating doubt in your plans and your ideas for yourself and your life. It's gonna be somebody very controlling. A couple words just came to mind. I said controlling and spirit threw out 2 words, child. They said manipulative and they said narcissistic. So that's not going to be for everybody, but that is just the way that jumped out in my head just now after I said controlling, because I was going to say maybe not, and then it just whoop. So okay, you have the Tower in reverse and the Hangman. A lot of energy about being alone, because in my Rider-Waite deck, I've got, I saw the 8 of Cups and the 4 of Swords. So there is a need for this person to take some time apart from this influence, just so that they can actually see the proof of what their life can look like when they don't have this person in their ear trying to dictate right and wrong for them. Because, you know, it's okay for your loved ones to give you advice. It's okay for you to go to this person and be like, hey, you know, do you think I should do this thing? What do you think about this person? What do you think about this job for me? But when you start overriding yourself, your own personal desires, and what your intuition is telling you in order to have this person pretty much plan your life out for you step by step, like that's when you run into an issue. Now, there's no blame here, because for enmeshment to come up, I'm not surprised at the spirit throughout narcissist, because that's like a cornerstone of narcissistic relationships, especially parent to child. I know personally. It is a journey. You know, and it took for me to separate myself from my narcissistic parent. I haven't spoken to that person in 2 years. But the amount of clarity I found in who I am as a person, and I feel like the walk, I just saw 3:33 on the clock, the walk back to myself that I was able to do once I realized that the path I was going down, I was pretty much living somebody else's life. I don't know whose life that was, but it wasn't fitting for Kellen. It was pretty jarring, you know, pretty damning, really, but also the most enriching experience that I've ever had, even though it's also been really painful and really scary, you know, when you have somebody dictating your life in such a way and being so controlling and also manipulative and trying to sort of like drill it into your brain that you need them, you know, and you should trust them over yourself. And my dad used to always be like, oh, you don't trust me? You should just trust me. And it's like, if I'd have trusted him, God knows where I would be right now. I wouldn't be sitting here doing this. That's what I will tell you. I would not be sitting here pursuing this channel if I had listened to him. And this is the most fulfilling and enriching thing I've ever done. So, I don't know. The influence that this person has in this masculine's life, they just feel like a dream crusher, you know? Maybe this person is very like pessimistic. They could be cynical, but I'm really getting more pessimistic from this energy. And they could be very like traditional. So I don't know if the person resonating with this, I don't know if one of you guys or both of you guys come from either like strict backgrounds, or the word military is yelling at me right now. Which is interesting because my dad was in the army. Religious, you know, I was getting that too for a second, like either really strict Christian or like Catholic. Muslim could be possible, but I wasn't getting that. I was not getting that, but it could definitely be possible. Because this was very Hierophant energy. Like, we had the Queen of Wands over here, sort of like taking the status quo, putting it in her hand, crushing it up and throwing that shit to the side. And I think that that's what's inspiring the King of Wands in their own lives, is the way that they're watching this person just embody themselves and really not give a fuck. It's like drawing that out of this person. That's what's making these two people more of a match, is because both of them are stepping more into who they truly are outside of like what society and family and cultural norms and religious backgrounds and very rigid systems that really never accounted for them in all of their fullness in the first place. So I think the Queen of Wands seems like they're farther along in that, and the King of Wands seems like that is the process that they are beginning and needing to get really comfortable with, like, not people pleasing, you know, like I was just telling one of my friends the other day, like, it's actually okay to be the villain in some people's story. You know? Like, so I think there's a need. I won't say that this masculine figure needs to completely release this relationship. I just think there's a need to set boundaries. And I think there's a need to not see this feminine energy that's influencing them away from what they want. I think they need to shift their perspective away from seeing this person and their opinions as like law. Because know that their opinions are just that, opinions. And for as much life, because this is Queen of Pentacles, so this could be like an older feminine figure. For as much life as this person has lived, there's also a lot of life that they don't know about, especially since they've lived in such a small-minded, again, more rigid, like traditional way. There's so much life out there. And just like I said about traveling, you know, like going down the road less traveled and all what you learn from that, all the knowledge and wisdom that you gain from going that route. It's like this person probably went the other route, which was sort of planned out. You know, it's very tedious. It's very like monotonous. It's very routine. You know, like what you see is what you get. You pretty much know what to expect. It's very predictable. And it feels like this masculine figure really wants to go the other way, which is more unorthodox. And that's the path that the Queen of Wands is going down, and the King of Wands sees them. They're like, I want to do that. I want to go with you. Take me with you. But there's a lot of fear in taking that step forward, and these two people going down that path together. And it has to do with this masculine figure taking this person's his other feminine energies, opinions too seriously, and you know what they're telling them they should value. So I think the more time this person spends away from this you know, sort of like controlling feminine figure, the more they'll really be able to hear their own thoughts. And I think they should really work on feeling less guilty about having wants and going after those things. Because at the end of the day, like, if you have something that you feel like you want and you pursue it and it's not what you thought it was, it's really no skin off your teeth. You know, it is what it is. You'll learn from whatever did happen and you'll keep it moving. And then you pursue the next thing you want. You're like, ah, that was it. You know, like you just keep going. And I just feel like this feminine energy is acting as a deterrent. Because that tower in reverse that I was seeing felt like this masculine figure really trying not to upset the apple cart. You know, it's like, I really don't want to disappoint this person. I don't want to cause any sort of conflict with them. Maybe they don't want to get disowned. Yeah, so this masculine figure, they've got a choice to make. And it's funny because they've already made this choice. I really do just think that this is a matter of time, honestly. I think they're going to take the step forward with this Eight of Wands here and the King of Wands. Because the King of Wands, let me tell you something about the King of Wands, stubborn. King of Wands does what he wants. He wants it, he's going after it. They want it, they're going after it. So, and it just happens to be the Queen of Wands right now. So I think they'll realize, like, with this Queen of Wands and the Ace of Swords, just how much of the truth this Queen of Wands figure holds, you know? So this feels like a person that is honest and reliable, and again, transparent, and just very like wearing everything on their sleeves. Like what you see is what you get. There isn't anything hidden. There's no skeletons in the closet. There's no ulterior motives or any sort of hidden agendas. And, you know, if this person says that they really do have the King of Wands' best interest at heart, they do. And this is because they're a genuine energy. They're going to need, you know, the King of Wands is going to need to really, like, evaluate their relationship with that older feminine figure, that's the Queen of Pentacles, and sort of ask themselves where they think that person's interests lie. I mean, controlling, manipulative being words that were coming out, like, that's not, I can already tell you, that's not a person that has their best interest at heart. But if this is a mother figure, like, that's a hard thing to confront, because nobody wants to see either parent, you know? Like, I definitely don't want to see my dad that way, but it was the truth I had to grapple with, and it was painful, and we sobbed it out as much as necessary. And I still have my days where it frustrates me, but it's also life. And I look at it like I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't choose to accept that truth and just take the necessary steps to move forward. When I said I haven't spoken to my dad in 2 years, I didn't plan that. I really just planned to stop talking to him for a minute because I was like, I need space. I need to go think. And in that time, I took that space and I had too many thoughts to where my brain was like, ooh, it's not that maybe I'll never speak to you again, but it's that I'm not going to be speaking to you anytime soon. And I'm going to honor my feelings. And if I do come to a point where I decide, okay, I want to talk to you, you know, or I feel like you've changed in some way for us to have a relationship with each other, then that'll change. But for right now, I'm taking it day by day, and every day I wake up and it's, fuck that nigga. So, under the Three of Cups, what am I looking at right now? I'm seeing the Chariot, the Three of Wands, and the King of Cups in reverse. So yeah, I think this person is definitely struggling with it's giving Tin Man has a heart. Tin Man has a heart, and I think it's funny because we have the Ace of Cups and the King of Cups in reverse, and that just seems so antithetical. But what I really feel like it is, this person is in this shut down, closed off energy, but like that's really not how they feel. That's really not how they actually feel. So there's like a weird contradiction and conflict going on inside of them right now. But this person could have grown up used to having to like shut their emotions off. So they know how to just do that in order to survive in the environment that they grew up in. Yeah, but Three of Wands, the Chariot, it's like the Ace of Cups, the Chariot, the Three of Wands. It's like, what? The Lovers, the Eight of Wands, the Two of Cups. It's like, what more can I really say? There's complications here, but steps will be taken, you know? Whatever this person chooses to do ultimately, I mean, this feminine figure may not like it, but I kind of think that whatever it is that this masculine chooses to step forward, especially, you know, towards the Queen of Wands, it's like, it's pretty much going to speak for itself. And I think the contrast between the Queen of Wands and this Queen of Pentacles, like, I think that's going to speak for itself, and it's going to speak volumes. It's funny because it's Queen of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, and then Queen of Wands, Ace of Swords. So yeah, the truth will come to light. Either way it goes. Yeah. Yep. This person just needs to let their heart speak for itself. So, my friends, I was going to read the consequence of fear, but I'm actually just going to read you guys the keywords, and then I'm going to let y'all go, because this went on way longer than I intended. This is going to end up being like 3 parts, and that was not the goal. The consequence of fear. I'm hearing Spirit be like, it doesn't matter. You go with the flow. The consequence of fear, contraction, the frequency of fear, and self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's in reverse. The consequences of fear-based decisions made in the past are revealing themselves to you. It's a good thing you can take a step back and repair whatever appears to be fractured. Having a sense of humor and a lot of self-compassion would be helpful right now. Allow yourself to regroup in your own time and shift your perspective. You are not a failure, you are not flawed, and you have made no irreparable mistake. The questions to ask are, where am I placing my faith and trust, and why am I expecting the worst or viewing through the lens of lack? You made choices from the perceived energy around you then, and you will get to make different ones in the future. Give your fears to your higher power and act as if you believe you're in good hands. How could you not be? Life on earth is a spiritual experiment after all. So what I was saying about this person looking back in the past and having these regrets about the way that they were moving back then, that's pretty much what this is talking about. When I said that, like, there are lessons even when you take the path that you look back and you're like, damn, why'd I go that way? Because life is a spiritual experiment. We don't only learn from positive experiences. In fact, we really learn from negative experiences, and it's because of the way they impact us. Sometimes the best way to learn really is to break your own heart. Yeah, so that was sitting on top of love and partnerships in reverse. Relationships work. Oh wait, we did that already. I did read that one. That was the one that was talking about enmeshment and codependency. Yeah, so okay. Here's an interesting thing. This is the last thing I'm gonna leave you guys with before we go. One of the best things I've ever seen, and I don't even remember where this quote is from, you guys have probably seen it, is you don't take advice from people who are not where you want to be or are not living a life that you would like to be living in some way. So it's like, if you are like, man, I'm really trying to get a job right now. I should figure out a way to fix my resume. Maybe I need some tips because maybe I'm doing something wrong. What you're not going to do is you're not going to go to your friend that gets fired from every job they have or quits every job they have after like 2 weeks, right? Because you're looking at them like, well, what do they know? How are they going to help me? Apply that to love and partnerships. So if I'm talking to this masculine figure, it's like, you need to be able to honestly take a look at this feminine figure and her relationships in general, not even just romantic. But her romantic relationships as well. Is she married? What does that look like? You know, what kind of choices has she made in her life that have led her to where she is? And if you can look at those choices and feel like, yikes, that's not a person you should be letting advise you, because what do they know? And that's a hard pill to swallow, because Queen of Pentacles, I mean, clearly she's got some sort of expertise somewhere, but it's just not in the love department. She's not the Queen of Cups. She's got the truth about some things, but this is not her wheelhouse, okay? This is not the area of expertise in her life. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like Capricorn energy. I'm not even, you know what? The Queen of Pentacles is Capricorn. Yeah. Capricorn women are notorious, and I love y'all. Shout out to y'all. But they are notorious for making really good decisions. They're, again, so ambitious, so smart, so driven, so talented, so intelligent. Beautiful women. Beautiful. Okay? They have it together in so many different ways. And then we get to the love department and it just gets a little shaky. And that's okay. Like, everybody is imperfect and everybody has their flaws. This is just Ace of Swords. This is just about the truth. This is about unbiased, raw, honest truth. If you can look at this feminine figure in your life and there's nothing about the relationship that they're in or they have been in that you would like to recreate, then why the hell are you taking relationship advice from this person? Also, that's the other thing too, because if this was a person who was like divorced or something, this is not to say that just because somebody has failed relationships that you can't take advice from them, but really pay attention to how they speak about these relationships. It's like, when they talk about these relationships, is the other person always to blame? You know, do they speak in a way where you can tell they've gained actual wisdom from having been in these failed situations? Because that's different. If you're talking to an older woman who's like, no, here's what I've learned, like, let me give you the breakdown, that's different. But at the same time, even if that's what she's learned, those are her experiences. And so she learned those lessons from having that specific set of experiences, and you having your specific set of experiences is going to teach you different lessons, or the same lessons in a different way, but probably different lessons. So it's not nothing that she can teach you, but at the same time, like, don't let her and her influence and her opinions and her advice cause you to write off something that you don't know how it's gonna go because she's trying to tell you that she knows how it's gonna go. No, she don't. No, she doesn't, and that's okay. Like, she's not the oracle. So, you know, she needs to take that step back, and she needs to let you have your experiences and learn from them, and just be there to guide you and catch you when you fall and love you and be your cushion, and that's it. But trying to tell you what to do, you know, and like really influence your choices, like, that's where it gets controlling. So that's my advice to the masculine energy that this is for. Yeah. That's my last piece of advice. That's where I'm gonna leave you guys, friends. Thank you so much for being here with me for this reading. As always, my personal readings are open. Okay, if you want to find out more information about that, you can go to the community section. I have a post about it. Any further questions, you can send me an email over to eternalserenitytarot@gmail.com. And yeah, that's it. I hope this resonated for you guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, turn my post notifications on so you know next time we're chatting and we're hanging out. And when I actually get some subscribers, we can start going live. Well, yeah, that's it, guys. Oh wait, happy full moon, happy October, and happy Halloween, just in case y'all don't hear from me before this month is over. Like, what? Anyway, hold on, we have to do that the right way.